was the best?
Still didn't answer that question, did he? That's true.
Sitting beside Jonathan Frakes.
You know, it's amazing. Some actors are embarrassed to say that they really love science fiction, you know, but secretly, I always say it's like the early Christians, you know, we had to hide in the catacombs. We were afraid to admit, you know, that we really liked that show, but same thing, I grew up in Star Trek, and who knew that one day I would end up doing, you know, something similar. But same thing for me. This weekend, I'm not going to go into my backstory, but it's been extraordinary to see how many people support this show, love this show, and watching the actors up here, I felt so proud, and I say this from my heart, I felt so proud to be with actors who have not lost their way, who have not become arrogant, who don't have this attitude that I'm superior, that I'm higher than thou, and it's just amazing to deal with people that truly have a love and passion for life, for art, for great work, and love each other. We don't seem to have this competitive need to put people down. I really feel very, very privileged to be part of this group. I really do.
Ooh, and hanging out with Grant from Mythbusters last night for like half an hour. I loved that show. I went fanboy all over him. I walk up to him and I go, dude, I'm really sorry. I don't know if I'm Eric Douglas from BattleStar. He's just standing there looking at me going, doy. Apparently he watches my show too.
If you'd told me 10 years ago that I would do a panel sitting between Commander Riker and Captain Apollo, I could die and go to Nirvana right now.
I have a question for Aaron. Jamie said that he got an opportunity to ride an F-18. I was just wondering, because I noticed that you talked to a lot of our servicemen and women at conventions, if you had ever had an opportunity to go on base or an aircraft carrier or anything like that, and actually see for yourself what the real-life version of your character gets to do on a day-to-day basis.
I have not had that opportunity, but I would love that opportunity. It's come close a few times when I was in Maryland. I just didn't have the time. When I was in San Diego, I just didn't have the time. I really would love to do that. I'd love to go up with the Blue Angels or something like that, but I would really like to go hang out with the enlisted guys at a bar and sit around and have a beer. And if one of them would give me a wrench and let me just turn a bolt on something, I would be like, turn how far? There? Oh yeah. Your plane is ready, Captain. And maybe I might even say get the bird in the tube, I don't know. But I would absolutely love to do that. I would love to do that.
In a related story, I have a closest friend from back in junior high is a commanding officer of a destroyer, and it was the USS Fitzgerald. He was having Friends and Family Day, so I brought some of the writing staff down to this destroyer to look around naval ships, since we are a show about essentially the Navy in space. And Bradley Thompson out of his mind, all over the place, up and down the ship, wearing the damage control gear, got some great pictures. And that actually ended up being, a lot of that was incorporated into the episode Valley of Darkness. But later, in the episode Fight of the Phoenix, Chief, do you remember? Yeah. In Navy terminology, a destroyer is a DD, and a guided missile destroyer is a DDG. His hull number is 62. So the ship is Fitzgerald's DDG-62, and you'll remember that when Chief needed engines for the Blackbird, Colonel Ty came and said, you know, I owe the XO to Bob McCall a favor. He's got some old DDG-62 engines. That was a nod to the commander and crew of the USS Fitzgerald.
And I spent 8 days building that Blackbird fighter, and they blew it up. I hate this show.
Good morning, and thank you for coming again. It's appreciated. Just want to ask you, have any of you on the show had an opportunity to add to your characters, nuances, or personalities, or background, or are you allowed any of that kind of creative input?
It's really good for him because the way you came on this show, how your character started, and how what he brought to this show actually built this role and turned it into the wonderful character that you are. Share that story. That's a great story.
I've never been on a show where the writers are so open to discussing the character, discussing lines, words, anything. I ad-lib a lot. Essentially what I do here is what I do at work. I just make stuff up. And I originally auditioned for Apollo, which I didn't get, which is great because Jamie has to go to the gym. And then I got called back for Gata, which went to AJ, which is great because I can't tech talk. And there was a void, there was no role for me, but they also didn't have anybody for this Tyrrell character. So David Icke thought about it, and hey, I hooked up this, because Tyrrell originally was supposed to be the same age as Ty. They were supposed to be contemporaries. But they started watching the casting things, and David and Reimer go, there's a lot of old men on this show. So they offered it to me, and now I'm an old man on the show. And yeah, if you read the miniseries script, Tyrrell really doesn't have a lot. He's a really, really small character. And I think I only had about 9 days of shooting, and half those days I didn't have anything to say. Well, I just got into this scene, and stuff started happening, so I started talking, and David was like, well, what? Hang on, what? Well, come here, what did you just say? I said, this and this. Put a mic on you. So they started adding me to scenes, and started adding me to lines, and a couple days in, I'm sitting beside Ike, and we're writing lines for other people. It was awesome. And I think Apollo should say this. And yeah, ever since then, it's just, Chief has grown more and more and more. So yeah, the Chief is really a product of Ron envisioning him from the beginning, but he was really not much of anything. I think he was actually supposed to die, and thank God he didn't. And, the one that really sealed it for David though was after we find out, we get the announcement that there's a war of the silence of attack, and the Chief runs out and he says, all right, you've trained for this, and this was completely out there. There was no lines here. It was supposed to be just the camera going through the ship, seeing what everybody's doing, and he said, you've trained for this. This is what we're here for. Now let's get this old girl back in the fight and kick some Cylon ass. David leapt from his chair. Yes! And Reimer, being Australian, just goes, oh, God. That was it. David's like, that's my favorite character.
Thank you. I just wanted to close by saying that I have no idea why the powers that be feel the show needs to end when you guys reach Earth. The acting and the writing on this show are way above anything I've ever seen. You guys deserve to keep going.
Hello. I have more of a technical question regarding the Blackbird. How realistic is it that it actually could have been built?
We actually had to justify where every piece came from. We were looking at, where do we get the metal? I said, well, the Astral Queen's got a lot of metal, got a lot of bars that I'm using these days, and where the composites came from. All those came from Cloud9. They have a lake there, the paddle boats, the fixed paddle boats, that's where the composites came from. We actually scrounged through the fleet mentally to try to figure out where this stuff came from, and we think it's fairly realistic.
I scrounged through the fight.
Hi. I have a question relating to one of the scenes in season 3. When in one of the episodes in season 3, you approached a silent base star and it was deactivated by somewhat of a what was it?
What
a virus.
are you talking
A virus. Please forgive me, I have a memory disability sometimes. So.
Thought you were like us, a little slow this morning.
Hey, I had to watch the Briny Little Kids last night as well. So I just want to know, is it possible that there's also going to be a big battle over Earth? Because the only thing that kept going through my mind is that Earth is the only way that that thing could have gotten there. That's the only way that kept going through my mind, is that Earth, or because no other race that the Galactica could have come across could have made it.
So we are following the path of the 13th tribe. And obviously they were so technologically advanced and they had space travel, so they could easily have like that. That's kind of the implication. The 13th tribe like that device that spawned out the virus. That had the virus. So I think that's pretty much the only answer, because Ron has said from the word go that we're not going to have a lot of alien races. So that's it. It's just a very sparse, empty universe or galaxy in the galactic universe. So that's really the only answer.